Paul Turner, can you hear me? Please begin. Paul is here, so we have to start for him, even though we're a minute early. This is all about Paul Turner. Jason, welcome. Paul, welcome. Paul 2, welcome. Paul 3, welcome. Lots of Pauls. As you know, I seem to work with a lot of Pauls. That's just the way it goes. Good evening. So we're going to take about 20 minutes. I just want to give a couple more minutes. My marketing skills were lacking for this one. To be honest with you, I should have got the word out on this high and low and everywhere, but you may have seen an email and I made a post. So I considered that enough. So boom, says Paul. He's ready. Paul B is ready. So we're going to show you a 3-step process here to get Mankini ready by June 1st. Because you don't want to be that man with 2 layers on in the pool, right? You got this big baggy t-shirt on. And people are like, why has that guy got a t-shirt on? Clearly he's hiding something. You want to be the guy in the full-fledged Mankini, sporting your curves. Paul Surfan. Troy, welcome. Neil, Scottish lad Fairbane. Is that how you say that name? That's the longest name on record in this group. He is on the call. All right, so 7. All right, so let's get into it then, right? You are the good ones who are committing to your fitness success. You're ready to be better. That's what we're about. All right, so put that phone away unless you're watching this on a phone. That would kind of defeat the purpose, right? I want you to stay tuned and have your undivided attention during a Jets game, no less. Barry, welcome. Scott, welcome. Barry Partolo, the champion of the champion of the last challenge. We called it the Thunder Buddy Challenge. Him and his teammate, Dan, lost over 20 pounds combined. So props to them. I've got a sweater off to him for winning. So the question for you is, if you were comfortable enough to wear this Bo Rat Mankini, clearly you'd be comfortable with your body, right? That's a ballsy move. Whether or not you're packing enough down there or not, this implies that you are comfortable in your own skin, you're in good shape. So that's what I'm trying to aim for here. By the end of this call, you'll have a game plan to get that Mankini body, whether or not you'd actually wear this monstrosity or not. Oh, Dan's on as well. So the redneck Mankinis are on, actually. Barry and Dan, who won the last challenge. So first off, in case anyone snuck in here that shouldn't be here, if you're a hardcore CrossFitter, this type of guy, right? The bearded hipster who also lifts weights, this is probably not for you. This is not for the hardcore guys that can train 2 hours a day. Nor is it for the vegans. Unfortunately, that's just not my lane. I kind of find you all annoying. So if you're a vegan and somehow managed your way into this group, you can feel free to exit out. No offense to you. I'm just, it's not my style. And I get trolled by them all the time. So I'm a little bit bitter. It's also not for the bodybuilder type. I mean, I'm all for bodybuilding style training. But to get this big no longer becomes healthy. No longer becomes natural, right? You've got your buddy sticking a needle in your bum. And we don't want that for you. This is about making your life fit, right? Fitness fits your life, not the other way around. So this is for those dads who just want to get in the pool shirtless with their kids and don't get winded and, you know, get a few sideways glances from the other moms. That's always good. That's some good validation right there. But certainly just be healthy for life. So first off, give me a like if you are actually listening to this, not just zoned out already. I'm going to keep this fun and keep it brief. Bob Berkeley, welcome. So the world is not set up for you to lose weight. Let's get that out of the way right away now. Because you drive by drive-thrus, you have apps on your phone with special discounts for food delivery that shows up within 5 minutes. I used Uber Eats the other day. It was shocking. The guy must have been outside my window, like creeping me. And he raced off to Burrito Splendido and came back within 10 minutes. Food was there. Amazing. But that gets us in trouble if we're not smart about it, right? So you want to work with the way the world is structured not against it. You don't want to be the salmon trying to swim upstream. Like, what? Couldn't these guys figure it out? Go downstream or something. Figure out another way. They've been doing this for generations, and they just can't figure out a better system. So I'm going to show you a system to make the temptations of the world work within your diet. Paul Garcia. Temptations on the food side of things. Nothing sexual. That is not my lane. So the right way. This was a cool graphic I stole off Google. The right way to diet. It has no context in terms of what I'm about to present. It is a doc with someone with their hands raised in the air, Tony Robbins style. But you get my point. The right way is something I call metabolic flexibility. I didn't make this up, but it's in fact a scientific term that says you can burn fat at rest or carbs when active, and your body can switch back and forth. You want to be in this place. You're not necessarily programmed to do this, especially if you're overly reliant on carbs, you're too sedentary, and your whole hardwiring is messed up, right? And we want to fix that. So signs you aren't metabolically flexible. You get that midday crash after a meal. Pretty much any meal kind of leaves you sluggish. You try to fast and you get a ton of cravings and discomfort, and you don't really burn the fat you would expect to burn by not eating at all. And then you kind of rely on caffeine for energy, right? You're not getting that natural high. Dan, you want sideways glances at the pool. That's true. That's a good point. There is some sexual undertones to what I'm teaching you here. There's a side benefit of getting in shape, certainly. So with that out of the way, if you have any of these symptoms, fear not. It's not the end of the world. You can change. But how do you game the system? Well, something called insulin sensitivity. I'm not going to bore you with the science on this, but an important part to that is your ability to store those carbs in your muscles, to a lesser degree in your liver, so that you don't get that blood sugar lull and you feel like crap that most get when they don't have metabolic flexibility. So one way to do this is resistance training. Build up your lean body mass. It's pretty simple. The more muscle you have, the more storage capacity you have for carbs, so that you are a sponge when you eat them, right? Simplest terms. However, for the other side of the coin, to go through periods of the day when you're burning fat from diet, but also fat from body fat stores, this is what you want. So how do you do that? Well, certainly if you've never gone without a carb for more than 3 hours, you're going to have to go full keto, low protein, pretty high fat, next to no carbs for a few days. You'll know when you've adapted. So if you've never gone without carbs in a meal, you're going to have to go through a bit of a suffering period, 3 to 7 days, and I can talk you through that. Certainly you need to go through this. There's no real way to bypass this unless you're already at the stage where you know you eat a protein fat meal and you get an energy spike. That's what we want. However, what keto gets wrong is not providing fuel for those intense workouts. We want to build muscle. You want that toned look at the end. Keto's not going to get you there, I'll be honest with you, unless you've got a ton of pre-existing muscle. So the next step from keto is smart use of carbs around workouts, post-workout, when they can be used to your advantage. Makes sense so far. Hit the heart or the anger sign if you're still there. I'm cool with the anger emoji. That works for me too. That means you're having an emotional response to what I'm teaching you. So how does this break down? Well, there's 3 daily meal plans, so to speak. And if you're in a burn phase, and I break this down to burn or build, right? If you're looking to burn fat, you're going to want to take this approach. And that means you are suffering a bit more than the guy who's building, obviously. You're eating less food. You still get a carb backload day, which I'll talk about, but you're fasting for periods of up to 20 hours, up to 3 times a week, okay? That's going to strip the fat off you, especially if you're fat adapted to going without carbs. And a build phase, slightly different. As you see on the right, you're going to eat more, less fasting, more carb backloading, which is fun. And certainly I encourage this if you're in a plateau of any kind, where you've probably lost 20 plus pounds in the last maybe 3 or so months. That's usually a pretty good benchmark that you need to kind of transition for a bit. All right, so what is carb backloading, right? Real science to this. It's where you abstain from carbs for a period of a day, have a good lifting focused workout, maybe have some carbs during the workout if you've been fasting for a long time, but then you follow up that workout with low fat, high sugar, so-called bad foods, right? I had some waffles tonight after a leg workout. You could have a big bowl of cereal, some ice cream. The general rule of thumb, up to 400 grams of carbs. That is a ton of sugar. You would say this is going to lead to fat gain, not necessarily if it's within the context of the plan I've just outlined. There you go, Dan. The anger. I like it. So that is that's a guesstimate, that number, and you'll have to kind of play with it. When you know you've hit the mark is when you wake up the next day, every muscle looks tight. Like you've filled it up, but you haven't overfilled it to the point of getting watery and soft. So some people can push that to 600 grams. That's insane. Personally, I slot in around 400, 500 once or twice a week. Some people can't afford to do this, period. But in fact, when you're dieting extra hard, one of these days is super effective every week or two to avoid that down regulation of your metabolism that happens when you're dieting hard, right? So you don't want to just blow up with, a full deep dish pizza here. You're still going pretty low fat, but you're looking at frozen yogurt, pastries, kids cereal, like I mentioned earlier, Fruit Loops. Fun foods, certainly, that are going to fill up that glycogen levels in your muscle. All right, so CBL's out of the way. This is the Autobahn fast, and if you've been a client of mine, you know I like to use this, especially if you had a tough weekend, you ate too much. Monday rolls around, you throw one of these in, and you're back to square one by Tuesday. Not for the faint of heart, because the better part of the day is spent abstaining from food, and that's hard at first. So you cry into your coffee, and then you drink it. Tears and coffee for breakfast and lunch. If you work out on this day, you can add, and I encourage you to have some carbs within the workout, but typically avoid workouts on these long fasting days because you're a little bit dehydrated, a little bit more prone to injury, and you're just tearing down muscle, not rebuilding it. And it's actually not going to really have a very good training effect if you try to force yourself to work out on a day without calories. So then you take it to the next level. You have dinner after almost 20 hours of fasting, and you keep the carbs out. All right, that's the next level step. Stephen Lyons is on. The Stephen. You may know him from the 300 photos I've posted of his transformation. Philip is on as well. So that's the Autobahn fast. If there's any questions, obviously drop them in the comments below. I'm throwing a lot at you here. But the last, and this is the most commonplace meal plan on the diet, where you just eat around maintenance with a good balanced whole meal approach, right? Lots of protein, lots of carbs, a little bit of fat. 3 square meals, maybe a snack. Done deal, right? That one's pretty straightforward. And if you've got my cheat sheet, you know kind of my hand size guide, that would work here. So those can be 3-4 times a week. If you're on the burn phase, maybe less so. Stephen got lost. All right, so I want to take this a step further. That's all the tactics, but the mental side of dieting is actually far more important. And I talk about playing the long game all the time. You've got to be in it for the long haul, or the weight you lose is going to be regained eventually. So where to start is determining or having a very strong reason for what you're doing or why you're trying to lose weight, right? Let's say you're on the left tower, your family's on the right, and it's a burning building. You're very motivated to go get your family, right? And bring them back. So it's a pretty extreme example, but you need to have a burning building behind you so that you don't quit at the first sign of resistance. Make it non-negotiable. So I talk about having some sort of blackmail in place where you risk losing something if you don't reach your goal. That's powerful stuff. All right, I'm reading the comments. Stephen was lost, but he's on track. Good. So again, the message is the stronger your why, the easier this will all be, because if you go through a few days of not feeling really up to going to the gym or eating right, you look back at the reason you started or what you're potentially giving up if you don't continue, and you will make the right decisions again. Got it? So what is your why? Why do you want to lose weight by summer so you don't have to be that guy in the pool with his shirt on? Drop that in the comments so I know someone is alive on this call, okay? I'm not just doing this for myself. This is for you guys. Very good. We're starting to get comments. I won't read them. I don't want to expose anyone here. So what is the why in the case of that guy on the couch, right, on the previous slide? Big beer gut. Well, his why is being around for his adult daughter when she gets married, right? That's the example here. Because if he doesn't change his habits, the research bears it out. If you're close to 300 pounds, you're not likely to live past 60, 70 years old. Stats don't lie. So his reason is to walk his daughter down the aisle 20 years from now when she's full grown. That's a pretty strong reason to get your ass in shape, right? I would hope that would resonate with somebody. So I talked about this off the top. That new car smell of a new approach, right? Easy to be motivated during that 4 to 6 to 8 week window until the new car smell wears off and you start kicking dirt around in it and the car payments look like a chore at this point. You need to ride out, actually embrace that boring feeling. I like it. I like that we're getting comments. Yep, that's it, Zach. Jealousy of other wives is actually a strong motivator for me. I like going to swim lessons. Wearing tight shorts and strutting my stuff. Very big bonus. Barry's car. Barry, I've just doubled your fees. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know you own this car. So that's it. So how do you sustain motivation? Because it will get hard. Dieting is easy, but, well, simple, but not easy to keep going. And the big thing I find is to continually see positive changes and really reinforce those changes, right? So what I mean by that is day to day, tracking your results, getting stronger, maybe getting external validation, like a coworker says, "Hey, what are you doing? You look good." That type of thing. That's that compound effect. The dominoes are starting to drop for you. When those start to build momentum, there's no stopping you, right? So it's sometimes tough to continue long enough to get that because it seems so subtle day after day. But months down the road, 3 months down the road, night and day, you're a new man. No turning back. That's what I want for you. Because our brains are wired to kind of, seek out the easy button. Is this worth it? Is packing my gym clothes and going at 5 p.m. worth it? But if you're already seeing results, you're down a pound, you feel stronger, someone said you look hot, then your brain will say, you know what, this is worth it because we're getting the results we want. So you've got to kind of force the habit. Focus on small wins. Do little things each week. Dan asked, do you recommend this if you don't understand keto? I would say, well, knowing you, Dan, I can walk you through it a bit. But honestly, keto is tricky, but not overly complicated. And once we go through it, I can walk you through that a bit. because I don't think it's that hard once you get a handle on it, and you'll know when you're in ketosis when you're not. All right? So if it takes giving yourself a pep talk, give yourself a pep talk, right? I'm asking you to go for a walk. It's important because X, Y, and Z, the things that you're trying to accomplish, the reasons you're trying to get in shape. Remember those. Keep that why front of mind. And if all else fails, put on the Rocky theme and do it anyway. Force it. Take a little mini commitment. Throw on your gym clothes. Sit on the couch until you feel like, okay, you know what? I think I'm ready. That's going to make all the difference for you. So, as in life, delayed gratification is a lost art, but it is the path of least resistance in the end. You've got to do the work now for the payoff later, and it may not come for a lot later. But you got to commit. How I boil it down is every choice you're making either moving you closer or further from your goal. You're not going to make the right choice all the time, but the ones who make the right choice more often than not, or quickly get back on the horse after falling off, are the ones that are going to get where they need to go, right? That's the main thing. So here is a dog and another dog's ass, just to kind of, throw a pattern, interrupt at you. Make sure you're still paying attention. Hit the thumbs up if you're still with me. I put a lot of thought into these slides, all 12 minutes. So I wanted to quickly go through the things that changed and how I put this plan together in the first place. It was after Grace was born, my second daughter. I had less time than ever before. And a lot of clients, a lot of work, a lot of competing priorities. So that was number one. I had to make some changes. So I became experiment with myself, really tried to simplify things, focused on 4 areas. First one is try not to rely on willpower. We got rid of a lot of the stuff in the house that was I was tempted to eat. Right now, like shredded cheese is the only thing in the fridge that's remotely fun looking. So how can I fail when all I have is shredded cheese to look at, right? No more comfort eating. Unless it's carb backloading day, then I get my cereal. So number 2 is super efficient workouts. I used to spend an hour and a half in the gym. Had to cut that back to 35, 45 minutes. A lot of supersets for one. Just simplifying the approach. I still train 4 or 5 times a week, but a little more quick and efficient. Diet got simpler. I used to prep a lot of meals, bring them with me in between clients. It was just too much at this point. I prep 1 meal, and that's my lunch. And the rest are shakes and simply not eating, right? That fasting comes in handy for this. It makes it easier. Accountability, right? This is the big one. If you're only in the fight by yourself, it's very easy to fall back into those old patterns and habits once the resistance comes. And the resistance will come. Star Wars, baby. It comes. So you need somebody in your corner who's going to keep you honest. And it's a two-way street, right? Conversation. So keep it simple. 3 square meals, 1 snack. On those Autobahn fasting days, you remove the carbs. Otherwise, you don't. 2 options. Pretty simple. Work out 4 times a week with weights. You try to get a lot of steps in, but there's no real conventional cardio where you have to get on a bike or treadmill. And then a big one is keeping your stress and hormones optimal. That starts with good sleep. There are some supplements I will recommend on a case-by-case basis to help with that. And then again, the accountability piece at the end. And that is how I work. And that's what the Mankini Transformation Challenge is about. Giving you all the tools to be beach ready, time for summer. Ideally by early May. If it takes till June, so be it. All right. So Steven, I knew you were coming, so I threw this in. A couple posts from him. Obviously, I worked with him for a better part of, 5 months? He took the ball and ran with it after that. Like, that's 9 weeks in between those two pictures. Still kicking ass, I would assume. He said beautiful in the comments, so I don't know if he's talking about himself. Probably talking about my daughters. Curtis, again, you've seen his stuff. I got kind of lazy with these, and I used a lot of the same ones. My apologies in advance. But the proof is in the pudding there. Leaned out by 40 pounds. Actually ended up losing 45. Josh, who's in my last challenge, just killed it. Worked his ass off, and he's got a newborn at home. So his sleep is at a premium. But he kicked ass as well, lost 21 pounds. And then we got our boy Ken. Didn't send me a picture. You got to take my word for it. This is his quote. 35 pounds working with me and continued with the tools that I gave him. Now he's down 55 pounds. 6 inches. A few pant sizes. This is that prototypical guy who, if he didn't make changes, was going to an early grave. Let's be honest. He was over 300 pounds. 55 pounds. New man. Jeans and coats. He hasn't been able to fit in years. Had to adjust his seatbelt. Compliments. Easier to walk upstairs. All these things, right? Those are those external validations you want. Ron got ripped. So a different body type. Obviously an athlete. He had some potential. We took him to the next level. I think he'd look good in a Mankini, wouldn't you say? Depends on how big a sock we'd have to get him, but he looks pretty ripped. Trent actually looks even better in his last picture. We got down to 214 pounds, but we got a bunch of inches off his waist. Jeff, again, also found his, just had that dad bod, right? Uncomfortable, and we got him pretty shredded. So what is new in this, right? For everyone that's already in the group, there's a burn or a build option. You make the choice, but it is kind of with my consultation. I'll help you with that if need be. But again, we're not swimming upstream. We're going to give you some options for those fun cheat days on weekends and keeping our workouts hard but efficient. Yes. And of course, the chance to win prizes. We do this every time. Always about the prizes. I know, Steve, you're talking about my kids. I'm kidding. Plus, we're going to throw some bonuses in for you. The golden tickets. So this is the rapid fat loss blueprint I follow before vacations, before weddings. Gives you a pretty aggressive diet to drop as much as 7 pounds. If you've left it to the last minute, this will come in handy. Every client gets fat burning recipes, over 200. So you never bore yourself to tears with the same old food. I give you a day-to-day of my every half hour on the hour. What do I do on a daily basis? That's sent to you as well. Mail out a copy of my book. And if you've had blood work recently, a physical, I'll go through it and give you some recommendations. Certainly getting your hormones optimized is a big part of losing weight the right way. All right. So a lot of people at this point kind of get on the fence and trying to find reasons not to do it, right? I know these people. Oh, I'm busy. There's my cat needs a haircut on the 16th of May. You know, all these things, they try to justify staying where they are. Their comfort zone is comfortable. However, success is found outside that box. And I make sure this works for you. So if all this did was get you the body of your dreams, Mankini ready, what is that worth to you? Quite frankly, you need to answer that for yourself. If you're comfortable being, the guy in the pool like this guy with his shirt on, then this is not for you. If you resolve to the fact that, you're always going to carry a few extra pounds, maybe a few too many extra pounds, and you don't want to change it, you just want to bitch about it, then I can't help you, right? Or do you want to be the guy in the pool, getting looks from the other moms, playing with your kids, throwing them up in the air with endless energy? That's what it's about. It's not about the workouts and how you eat. It's the byproduct of doing that stuff. So that could be you once again. I'm not sure why he's wearing socks and dress shoes. Never quite understood that piece of the ensemble. Caleb's watching. Wow, look at that. So what's included Some people like the nuts and bolts of the day-to-day, what you get. This stuff's kind of boring, but I know it has to be said. So you're going to get live video trainings in the group, private group with there's 37 other guys in there right now. Obviously, the diet approach I spoke about earlier, 3-step approach, customized to you and your calorie needs. Workout plans. Yeah, Paul, we'll adjust your plan because you're stuck at that number we've been talking about for a while. We need to push. Wrestling memes. Where did I use a wrestling meme? I'm all about the wrestling, Steve. So then we pair you up with Thunder Buddy. You get a workout within a custom app that I have for all my clients. And we do those monthly challenges to get you off your butt to the next level. And then again, the Mankini guarantee, 2 inches off your belly by the end. I will mail you Mankini if you're willing to support it at the end. I'm so confident we're going to get you there. And the 4 bonus gifts I mentioned, paperback copy of my book, blood work review, 7-day rapid fat loss plan, so that at the very end, you can throw that in there, get yourself beach ready. All right? So tonight only, I'm actually running full force with this in my group tomorrow. So I'm not going to linger this out for a week and wait for people to get off the fence. If you want in, mitchcalvert.com/Mankini, book a call, because I don't let anybody into this. You've got to actually talk to me and make sure you're sort of cool. And obviously I want to help as many people as possible. But we've got 37. We've got 2 kids. I don't need too many more. I want your name on the Mankini package, Dan. Oh, okay. That is a customization that we did not consider, but we can probably make that happen. Make sure we get a my face on the area where your ball sack would go. Maybe like the Steve-O tattoo, thumbs up, open mouth. This has very big potential, Dan. I'll give you a cut, 20% of the royalties of these. So I think these are going to sell like hotcakes. And then on the back, well, no, there's no space in the back because it's a string thong. So we'll have to do what we can. So hopefully your bulge is big enough to support my face on it. Yeah, okay, large print, good. All right, good. So we'll either assume you're packing or we'll put some socks in there. So for the rest of you on the call who are not yet a man's former, which I would say maybe 25% based on what I'm looking at here, you can go to this URL. We'll book a call and see if you're a good fit. And also if it makes sense for you. It has to go both ways, right? So I made the mistake of signing up 7 women last week. And they're a handful. So I'm working with them. I don't really want to add too many, but certainly if you've been in the group a while and you've been on the fence and you're not getting the results you want on your own, you still wear a shirt in the pool, then reach out to me because I certainly want to help you. All right, so go to that URL. There's a link to book in on my calendar, and we will talk. But let's get on it tonight. For those of you who are already in the group, I am putting together a plan for all of you, custom, that incorporates some of these elements we spoke about. Carb backloading, Autobahn fast, and a little bit of keto here and there, right? To combining all these elements into the perfect plan. 7 women killed. My article in the free press, they all signed up at once. So I'm working through with them, and they're taking up a lot of time. All right, that's it. If you have any questions or you're watching the replay, comment below, private message me through Messenger, whatever it takes if you're interested in this. 7 women. Too busy with 7 all at once. I actually have 14 on the roster right now. I'm a talented man, Jason. Apparently the Wild scored on the Jets, so I'm now in the dumps here. Oh, no. That's no good. All right, guys. I won't leave you any longer. We'll talk soon, Paul. Anyone else on the call, certainly message me if you're interested. And that is all she wrote.